Hello, I'm Rosalie de la Forêt, herbalist, teacher, and best-selling herbal author. This short video is about how herbs can help you with chronic inflammation. Chronic inflammation is the leading cause of many serious health diseases today, but inflammation itself isn't all bad. In fact, without inflammation, your life would probably be a lot shorter. That's because inflammation is your body's process of fighting against illness, injury, and other negative effects. In other words, it's your body's defense mechanism and a part of the healing process. We can split inflammation into two categories, acute and chronic. Acute inflammation often involves injuries, whether they are cuts or sprains, burns, bug bites, etc. Acute inflammation can be uncomfortable, but it's rarely dangerous. In fact, as I just mentioned, it's often a good thing because it means your body is doing what it needs to do in order to heal. And it's been shown that a little inflammation is a good thing because it helps your body become more resilient overall. Chronic inflammation is a big problem. So many chronic illnesses that are plaguing us today are rooted in chronic inflammation. Every day, thousands of people are diagnosed with these diseases, and every day, thousands of people die from these diseases. It's very frustrating and it's very heartbreaking. We know what's causing many of these serious diseases, but we just aren't doing a very good job of actually treating them. Western medicine is still searching for magical pills to cure diseases instead of treating the root cause. Don't get me wrong, obviously Western medicine comes up with some pretty cool things. Surgery totally blows my mind. But Western medicine doesn't have a good track record when it comes to actually curing chronic disease. Many of their pills simply suppress symptoms rather than actually heal. Alternative medicine doesn't do that much better. Too often they accentuate the negative and base their motivations and solutions on fear. The end result is people are worried and fearful of everything around them. Their lives become smaller and smaller as they try to avoid all the toxins that they keep hearing about, or they get caught up in an endless loop of detoxing and purging. Don't get me wrong, I don't deny that toxins and pollutants exist in our modern world, but I think a lot of people have gone too far, especially if someone is living in constant fear of foods and just regular daily life activities. Do we want to base our health choices on fear? That's why my approach to chronic inflammation is different. It's not about finding some non-existent so-called miracle pill. Sorry, just doesn't exist. And it's not about using fear tactics, which result in people living smaller and smaller lives because they're afraid of everything. Instead, my approach is about living more. By bringing herbs and other naturally healing practices into your life, you can reverse chronic inflammation and live a life with more ease and less pain. Instead of eliminating foods and activities, we train for them. As you get stronger, your life experiences are able to grow instead of shrink. And lucky for us, our beloved herbs are the perfect place to start. Herbs and foods are uniquely suited to help you dynamically balance inflammation, and they're a major missing piece for many people with chronic inflammation. To understand this better, we need to briefly look at free radicals and oxidative stress, which are the underlying causes of chronic inflammation. Free radicals occur when a stable cell loses an electron. That electron leakage means that cells can then do damage to other healthy cells. And the more that this occurs, the stronger it affects your healthy cells. Too many free radicals can seriously damage your DNA, your RNA, proteins, and healthy cells, which can lead to chronic diseases and accelerated aging. Free radicals are a normal part of life. You can't avoid them entirely. And as I mentioned before, you don't even want to entirely eliminate them because a little bit is a good thing. It helps your body adapt to stress. Instead of eliminating free radicals, it's best when your body is dynamically balancing your inflammation levels. This process is called reactive oxygenated species quenching, or for short, ROS quenching. Free radicals are caused by normal daily activities, just as a part of energy production. They can also be caused by external things like pollution, smoking, food toxins like rancid oils, and pesticides. Your body quenches these free radicals, or ROS, through internal enzymes, and herbs and foods can play a major role in this. Problems arise when we have too many free radicals in relationships to the things that are involved in ROS quenching. The balance gets tipped. And when that balance gets tipped, we get oxidative stress. If you simply tried to decrease exposure to things that cause free radicals in your life, then your life just gets smaller and smaller. And as I've been mentioning, it's just not possible, nor is it even desirable. A little bit of inflammation is a good thing for your body. It's kind of like building muscles. If you don't have a little stress on your muscles, then they become atrophied and weak. So a little bit of inflammation stresses your body in a way that causes your body to react and become stronger in the end. The solution to fixing oxidative stress, which leads to chronic inflammation, is to decrease excessive free radicals, but really to accentuate increasing your ROS quenching through increasing internal enzymes and, of course, herbs and foods. So how does ROS quenching work? Well, remember how I said that free radicals occur when a stable cell loses an electron? ROS quenching stops the creation of free radicals and oxidative stress by giving an electron to the unpaired electron. And this is where herbs and nutrient-dense foods become especially powerful. Herbs and foods that are high in antioxidants are known to decrease oxidative stress and to address chronic inflammation. We have thousands of studies showing us how powerful herbs can be for inflammation. But it's not as simple as increasing your antioxidant load. We often think of this process as this direct correlation, as if the antioxidants we eat directly affect those cells that have lost an electron. But there's a missing part of this equation. You. Rather than act directly on free radical cells, what herbs can do is way cooler than that. They dynamically interact with you, and they help to stimulate powerful enzymes that can then quench this oxidative stress. So in other words, this process is way more complex and way cooler than the idea of simply throwing back some antioxidant pills and thinking that will magically take away oxidative stress and chronic inflammation. Instead, you need to find what herbs and foods work best for your complex needs. And this is very important. Your success in addressing chronic inflammation will be guided on figuring out what works best for you. A generic one-size-fits-all approach is often discouraging and frustrating because there's so much guessing that it's hard to know if anything's really working. I'm passionate about helping people break through the chronic inflammation cycle. I used to do this by working with clients one-on-one, but I've since realized that I could help a lot more people by offering an interactive live workshop. In this way, I can guide a lot of people through the process of figuring out what works best for them. And because it's in a group workshop, the cost to you is way cheaper than working with me one-on-one. That's why I created the Cooling Inflammation Workshop. This 2-month workshop guides you week by week to help you figure out what works best for you. If you've ever wondered, where do I start with herbs? Then this is the perfect workshop for you. I'll be sharing essential tips for working with herbs through the lens of chronic inflammation, which is relevant to all of us. And you'll also be learning how to work with herbs effectively by knowing how to choose the best form, the best dosage for you, how long to take the herbs, and more. And perhaps the best part of this is that it's a live workshop, so I'm there to help you every step of the way. Easily the most frequently asked questions I get go something like this. Will herbs work for me and my particular problem? Or people will often ask me a variation of the following. They'll say, I have blank disease. What herbs will help? These might be the questions that are on the top of your mind, and they're great questions. So here's my response. I have no doubt that herbs help heal chronic inflammation. We have overwhelming evidence both in scientific research and through clinical evidence, including my own personal clinical experiences. I also know that this particular workshop has helped hundreds of people who've asked the exact same questions. But here's what I also know to be true. Herbs are complex and truly amazing partners in healing. Yet it's rare that there's the one thing that you take that makes a profound difference. It's a lot more complicated than that. You can think of your health like a garden. Let's say you have a plant in your garden that's suffering, has a disease or an infestation of some kind. It's natural to want to spray something on the plant to address the issue. Sometimes this works for a short time. But master gardeners will tell you that to truly treat the issue, you have to take a wider view. It's rarely about that one plant or the one thing it's suffering from. It often begins with the health and complexity of the soil. But that's not all. Rarely do plants live in isolation. Instead, a single plant's health is also related to all the plants around it. But it doesn't end there. We know the more diversity there is in the entire garden, the better, including the pollinators and the soil movers and predatory insects and on and on. Just as a plant's health is interconnected and complex, so is yours. And just as spraying a plant does little to solve its issues, throwing herbs at a disease also does little in the long run. I don't want a superficial Band-Aid approach for you and your health. My success is truly seeing your success, and that's why I created this workshop to give you both the knowledge and skills to work effectively with herbs and other natural therapies. This workshop isn't about throwing a lot of herbs at a health problem. It's about addressing the root causes of many of the diseases that we commonly face today. I'm here as your guide to walk you step by step towards vibrant health. And I can't accentuate this enough. The Cooling Inflammation Workshop is not about false promises and so-called miracle cures. And unlike a lot of other alternative health resources out there, this workshop is not about fear or doom and gloom. This workshop also isn't about complex anatomy and physiology that just goes in one ear and out the other. This workshop is focused on getting you results, not on memorizing facts. The Cooling Inflammation Workshop is down-to-earth, joyful, and fun. Because this is a live workshop, I only open enrollment for a short period of time. The doors for the 2022 enrollment close on September 21st. Check out the details of this course immediately to see if it's right for you by visiting herbalintensive.com. I know cooling inflammation has the potential to make a huge positive impact on your health. I've had hundreds of people go through cooling inflammation, and folks have called this course life-changing and transformative. But you don't have to take my word for it. Here's what cooling inflammation students have to say.
First of all, I love anything that Rosalie does. Okay. She's so much fun.
I always have my expectations exceeded when I take Rosalie's classes. She's got such a systemic way of addressing everything. She thinks of all the little components.
Rosalie was really wonderful in terms of her positive outlook and inviting us in under that umbrella of positivity.
I am totally a Rosalie groupie. There's no doubt about it. She's not just saying things because she thinks it's what people want to hear or it's the new hot thing. She's also really well connected within the herbal community, which I really appreciate.
So Rosalie is just amazing. She's very down to earth. Rosalie is very welcoming to everyone at whatever level that you might happen to be in your herb journey. Anytime you're looking at a course, you're not quite sure what you're getting. What I found was Rosalie's approach was a systemic approach. And so not only did she talk about herbs that work with inflammation, she taught us about our life situation that might be affecting our inflammation.
Rosalie did not come to this course in a way of saying, you must eliminate X, Y, and Z. She was very much about saying, hey, you can have your glass of wine, you can have your cup of coffee, whatever. She wasn't about punishment. She was about joy and freedom and enjoying life.
One of the things I like with the cooling inflammation class in particular, where she was talking about digestion and diet and food, she's all about experiencing the herbs, bringing the herbs into your life, putting them in your food. That's something I've really enjoyed with the cooling inflammation class, is adding herbs and spices to food and going, oh my gosh, this just tastes so much better with this in here.
I would always take one of Rosalie's classes. I take her online trainings. I always pay attention to her recipes. Probably most of my kitchen is built around Rosalie recipes. They are some of the best. She is truly the whole package, and it really doesn't matter what level of training you've had. I think that there is always something you can learn from her, not only her style, but from the content that she always brings.
I would absolutely, without a shadow of a doubt, take this course again. She organized it in such a way that we never felt like we were completely overwhelmed.
This cooling inflammation course was worth every penny I invested. In fact, I will use this material probably for the rest of my life.
As the course went by, I thought to myself, this is really just about the best money I've ever invested. It was fascinating. I learned so much, and it fed my heart. That's the kind of teacher Rosalie is. She addresses not only your mind, but your body, your spirit, and your heart too. Yeah.